Alright, welcome back. If you're new to here, welcome. I'm not really good with introductions, so we're gonna check this video out just like the title says. So here we go.
Why do you think young men are becoming more conservative?
I think in the left, when there are power structures, they're very quick to attack the entire group that they view as being at the top of that power structure, and then it makes every single person involved in that group feel like it's not a party for them, you know? So whether they're attacking white people or attacking America or attacking men, you just kind of get this, or wealthy people or whatever. I think too much of the left is focused on like chastising or punishing or criticizing rather than saying like, like, hey, this is a majority power group. Like, here's how other people can, kind of like rise up too, instead of just like relentlessly attacking them.
And I think you made the claim that the left has righted the ship in metrics like inflation, unemployment compared to other countries. But if that's the case, why didn't young men vote for the right or vote for the left in this election?
I think people kind of care about economic issues. People care about what they think about the economic issues. And for a long time, the right has basically been allowed to operate, with impunity in terms of just lying and telling people how they feel about certain things. And there definitely was big, like huge inflation rates in the beginning parts of the Biden administration. And cumulatively, a lot of that inflation is still felt. But then when you add on to that all of the basically fake news that the right is allowed to sell on all of their platforms over and over again, and nobody really calls them out on it, then people are going to have a worse view of how things are going than they actually are. Where did inflation come from? No, literally no conservative will acknowledge that COVID was even a thing in terms of being a huge influencing factor for inflation. A lot of people have dumb ideas around like macroeconomics. They'll say like, oh, like the Federal Reserve is why inflation happens, and we need to get rid of the Federal Reserve, ignoring the fact that Donald Trump, enjoyed low interest rates.
Says who? I don't know anybody that's ignored. Wow. Let's let this go for a minute and a half, and gosh dang, you could tell this dude is. How? I mean, I understand like people can be, they can remember things, they can pick things up, but my question is, how is it they don't ever question what they read? They just take it as what it is. He is a real, like, face value individual. Something tells me that it wouldn't be hard to get get him put into a van when he was a kid. Yeah, a piece of candy. The boy takes anything. Ah.
Under his administration, and will continue to push for low interest rates when he's coming in. They'll say things like tariffs will help control inflation, even though tariffs are an added tax across our entire import market. It will increase inflation. They'll say things like,
Yeah, that's the other thing. It seems like the left keeps pushing on. Do you understand that when those tariffs happen, those are happening to companies that originally were here that went over to other countries because they can make shit cheaper? Okay, so by making it more expensive to the same point as the employees that could be made here, will bring back those businesses either, or it helps for other businesses like small businesses, entrepreneurials, build up and give them a chance, thus taking away from corporate. Like this dude is, like I said, he is very surface nature. Dude doesn't think about shit.
you had all the obvious fake news stories about the hurricane weather machines, that FEMA was going to steal homes, that cats and dogs were being eaten by Haitians. Conservatives lie about it.
Dude, there's video. There's literally video. People crying. That their animals were. Anyway.
Everything when it comes to the media landscape today.
A lot of young men, I think, tend to view the right as.
I think he's so confident in his ignorance, man. It's just so many of them online, and it's no wonder people are leaving in droves on the left side because they can't. They understand that it's bullshit now. More and more people are waking up, and it's. You have to pick a side, man. It's like it's truth or bullshit anymore, and it's. Because I'm saying Trump's a piece of work, but it sucks that he's the only real choice that we got right now at this point, in my opinion. I mean, let me know what you think.
As being able to right the ship better when it comes to economic policies. So there must be some reason for that.
It's a totally fantastical delusion. It's just not true. Democrats have always had to come in and right the ship from failing conservative administrations. Obama had to do it. Obama had to come in after the 2007-2008 housing collapse. Everybody remembers this. It was a worldwide economic meltdown. Obama came in, righted the ship. The economy was doing pretty good his second term.
Yeah, you remember what happened? 9/11. Right after that, George Bush with his oil BS with his brothers, and Obama kept that up with Syria. I mean, this is common knowledge, man. Like I, I don't know. I thought this was common knowledge.
Term and continue to do good, and then Trump comes in, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh my God, amazing economy under Trump." It was amazing for the last 4 years of Obama, and continued on through Trump. And Trump only had to be more amazing by doing even more deficit spending. He cut taxes. He didn't pair it with spending cuts. He spent money like crazy.
Every president has.
Trump's administration, you had COVID, which left the entire world economy again in shambles, and then Biden comes in. We've got the American Rescue Plan. The United States is outperforming every other economy in the world.
Bro's itching to say something, but he's holding back. Like this whole time, it seems like he's been holding back.
And nobody cares, and now Trump is going to come in again, and it's probably going to be Trump taking credit for, oh my God, look at all this infrastructure we're building. Yeah, because Biden passed the infrastructure bill. Oh my God, we finally got, manufacturing back from China for microprocessors. Yeah, because Biden passed the CHIPS Act. Oh my God, like look at how the stock market is doing and everything. Yeah, it's posting all-time highs right now. Yes, it's been doing this. So basically, sometimes there can be like a little bit of a lapse between economic policy when you see the effects of it. But I mean, we just think back like the last 3 decades. It's basically been a destroyed economy under the Republicans. Donald Trump himself has said this, by the way, before he ran for office. I think it was in the early 2000s. I think he said this. But basically, yeah, Republicans will leave like this economy in ruins. Democrats have to come in and right the ship. There's still like all the fallout you're dealing with, so people are unhappy and they vote in a Republican again after the Democrat term, and it's just it's frustrating to deal with.
I'm curious, what don't you like about Trump, like especially?
I mean, the biggest issue is I think he's a massive character flaw. I think that he operates in a very un-American, unpatriotic manner. I don't think he has any respect for the institutions of the country or the Constitution or the rule of law or the peaceful transfer of power. These are like fundamental core American ideas that I have problems with. In terms of leadership, he's just an ineffective leader. He wasn't able to do anything on the border. He wasn't able to do anything in Congress. He wasn't able to do anything internationally, despite the fact that he tries to share credit.
Yeah, if I remember right, half of the time that he was president, we had majority side Democrat. Couldn't get anything pushed through because they kept fighting it. And I just distinctly remember a certain speaker of the House that kept saying the same thing. But, never mind the fact that they kept calling him a crook. But we also had a whole year of COVID lockdowns, which also ultimately screwed things up. So really, he had maybe 1 year to negotiate really anything. But on the flip side, it's just now the point where Democrats are making word of the whole immigrant situation. And didn't they have full control for 2 years in the presidency? Speaker of the House? Yeah, nothing got done. CHIPS Act. Yeah. Some of us actually know what was going on.
For it, like he was a failure in every sense of the way in every single part of his administration. I think he's a bad leader and a bad person and a bad American.
Do you think he's a fascist? I think that's also kind of a narrative that's being spun around at the moment.
He has kind of like these super ultra-nationalist tendencies, meaning this idea that America can be an autarky, that we can tariff the rest of the world, we can manufacture everything at home, that we should curb immigration, that we should curb, involvement in foreign affairs.
What is the problem with that? What is the problem with the country being self-sufficient? Answer me that one. Give me a logical reason, please, because I'd like to be educated on that one.
It's kind of sad, considering that America was like the leader of the free world. We guaranteed, trade routes and everything to the rest of the world and traded with the rest of the world. That's kind of sad. And then I think that he's definitely autocratic, and that he wants to centralize as much power in the presidency, not even just the executive branch, but in the presidency as much as possible. We've gotten really disappointing new rules set in the United States, like that the president of the United States can never be convicted for a criminal charge. As long as he's like acting in a certain role in the president, like these new categories of absolutely criminally immune behavior that have never been defined before, I think is really sad. His incessant like bullying of every single person.
Yeah, if I remember right, didn't they try to make a whole thing about about his personal past? They were trying to slam every part of him. If I remember right, everybody loved him up until the point he said that he was going to be a president. I mean, there's videos. I mean, this guy is literally living under a rock. Like, I don't. How can somebody be this confident and this so ignorant at the same time? I don't. It's beyond me. It's crazy.
Person that doesn't agree with everything that he wants, like trying to get them bullied out of the party, making sure that everybody falls in line and supports his agenda 100%. Him trying to weaponize the Department of Justice by telling them to, send out fake letters to states saying that we found evidence of voter fraud, like stuff like this is all like autocratic behavior. I think it's really bad.
Do you think like your dislike for him is also kind of clouding that a little bit, or do you feel like that's based in on facts?
Every single thing I say is based on facts. I've read more than any other conservative on the planet about any of these things. There's a reason why I've demolished every single person that has tried to confront me on any of these issues. They either don't know the facts or they willingly lie about them. But yeah, I mean, we dump into literally any single part of this. Leading up to the January 6th stuff, for instance, Donald Trump tried to tell his Department of Justice that he wanted them to send out fake letters to all the states saying that they found evidence of voter fraud. And even William Barr, who's a huge Trump fan, didn't want to do that. He gave an interview to the Associated Press basically saying that there was no evidence of voter fraud. And then he quits 2 weeks later on December 14th, just a few weeks before the next administration, which is pretty crazy. New people come in. Donald Trump tries to get them to also send out fake letters. And basically the only way that the DOJ is able to stop him is by telling him.
Yeah, but wasn't there like a whole video, a movie that came out? Like, I mean, obviously Hollywood's Hollywood. They can create anything at that point. Anybody can create anything, but it was clearly enough to where like it wasn't there like a discrepancy of 13 million votes this year. Like, there's a lot of things that don't add up, man. So I don't know.
Richard Donahue, I think, who was the deputy attorney, the acting deputy attorney general at the time, basically says, "Hey, like if you want to do this and send out these letters or force us to do it, half your Department of Justice is going to quit on you. You're going to have a graveyard here for the last week or two in your administration." There is no equivalent on the liberal side of the weaponization of the DOJ in this manner at all, ever. It's just not even remotely close. Donald Trump has pardoned almost every single crony friend he's had that have covered for him in court, whether it's Steve Bannon or Roger Stone, who were literally obstructing congressional investigations into Donald Trump and then saying that they wouldn't squeal on him.
Why am I always itching my freaking nose? It's probably because of you. I'm allergic to you, sweetheart.
It's not even close to. Yeah, I think Trump derangement syndrome is real, and I think it happens on the conservative side, where they basically make excuses for every single behavior that Trump engages in.
Fair enough. But aren't there also a lot of like Republican opposition against Trump too, though? Probably not
Yeah.
generites that.
I'd argue a lot more in the media for sure.
There is no opposition to Trump. If you oppose Trump, you get destroyed. You can't. I mean, there's like Romney, maybe he's like the only one, but you basically have to fall in line. It's one of the biggest strengths that the Republicans have over the Democrats is that the Democrats can show displeasure in leadership or displeasure in party people. On the Republican side, you're either MAGA or Trump will primary you. And he says it.
Yeah, because cancel culture was never a thing. This dude's delusional.
These are the good Republicans. These are the bad ones. If you don't like us,
Well, sorry to interrupt, but doesn't that happen also on the Democratic side, right? Like, for example, there weren't open primaries this year, and Kamala was essentially nominated. Everybody had to kind of like galvanize their support. Isn't that kind of just more so the effect of the polarization of parties at the moment?
No, like for instance, like Biden had a really bad performance, and Biden was pushed out by the party. That would never happen on the Republican side. No matter what Trump says or does, he will never be pushed out by the party because Trump will destroy those people.
They've been trying to push him out.
In terms of like whether there was an open primary or not, conservatives will never admit it, obviously, because they're not honest actors and they don't care. But to do an open primary at that point would have been incredibly spicy. People act like it would be such an easy decision. Like, oh, you should just have an open primary. And it's like a couple months really before the election. Like that, it would just be so crazy and so chaotic. Like, I could see there being...
Destiny's like that, like, 8-year-old that comes up to you and tells you, like, this wild story, and you just can't help but just smile and just let it go, because it's so far out of the depths of reality that you're just like, whatever, bro, just live in your own little world.
Arguments for an open primary. I can see there being arguments against open primaries, or an open primary in that particular circumstance. I can even see an argument against even getting Biden to step down. Like, I think there are still arguments for maybe he shouldn't do it. Like, yeah, it was a very like chaotic time. So.
But do you feel like you need to push more against the crazy like left-leaning stuff? Kind of
no,
like what you're
I think
doing,
that's
right?
stupid. A conservative has never in their life felt this obsessive need to like So like I see everybody talking to the left like, are you guys? Don't you need to self-reflect? Don't you need to figure out what went wrong with this election? Well, what did the conservatives do after they lost their last election? Well, one, they don't even believe they lost it, and two, they literally nominated the same guy, the exact same guy who ran an even worse campaign.
It's true.
So no, the idea that like the left has to dramatically change their approach and all that. Nah, I don't think it's true. I think the dramatic
You don't
change.
think there needs to be any sort of reflection after a loss, though?
What did the conservatives reflect on?
I think they did a better job of in terms of utilizing independent media. I think a lot of independent media has also been welcomed more by the right too.
Oh, for sure. They've been able to back things up. That's what happened. Like it's what happens when you base everything on your whole political spectrum based on identity politics and feel good situations. People like they stop caring about that shit once it starts screwing with their pockets.
I do agree with that, yeah, but that goes into being more aggressive. What they've done better is the right's media sphere is a cult. Every single person on the right, every single centrist or independent or whatever media thing, all of them support the party. On the left, like a lot of our huge people on the left don't support the party. They don't support the candidate. It's very weird, right? Like it's kind of funny that I go on.
It's because they're always bullshitting. Nobody can tell the truth, and none of their economics make any sense. Like this is common knowledge. Like, how does Destiny have this many followers yet he's this fucking ignorant?
Shows I was like, I'm an institutional shill because I actually get for like supporting the Democratic candidates in like this far left sphere. Like everybody will attack the candidate, but then you go to the far right sphere or the centrist sphere, right? And all these guys are massive Trump simps. Joe Rogan and Tim Pool and everybody at the Daily Wire and every single Stephen Carter, all the right, the far right, the mid right, the whatever right sphere are all supporting the candidate. And on the left, there's like this huge coalescence of people that are like far lefties that hate the candidate, and that's not a good environment. Who are the mainstream left-leaning figures who are pushing everybody to support
So for
Harris?
example, right, like if we're gonna use the example of Joe Rogan, right, they recently had like that controversy where they kind of edited out his podcast clip to make it seem like he's supporting Kamala. Like that was a blatant lie. Or for example, during the whole COVID thing, when they, color graded him to make him look more sick, called ivermectin like a horse dewormer. Like what I'm trying to say is that both sides engage in this.
Yeah, look at all that. Look at yeah. What was that? What was that? He's either looking away like, oh, this is not true. Might be the first time he's hearing this. I would really hope not, but it wouldn't surprise me any. Either way, that look right there is a little telling.
Issue that
Wait, hold on. You're talking about totally different things. I'm saying that on the right, if you're going to be in right media, you have to support the candidate. Full stop. Or your empire is destroyed. Your media company's destroyed.
Whatever fits your narrative, brother.
Popular.
well, that's
We think of it right now. Like, give me a single right-leaning media entity that doesn't fully support Donald Trump.
I mean, look, I can't just like name someone off the top of my
Yeah, I'm not really
Probably
right leaning,
think
so
cyber people on
I
the
guess
left, right?
yeah.
Hassan Piker is the largest streamer on Twitch. Didn't really support the candidate. People from Bernie's administration, like Brianna Joy Gray, didn't really support the candidate. Crystal Ball from Breaking Points didn't really support the candidate. Majority Report, both sides, do genocide, not huge support for the candidate. Like, there's tons of
Yeah, to be fair,
media and a lot of
how many of them has taken a bullet? Against the establishment and all these like left leaning individuals. They'll talk about like, oh, I think it was put on. Like, yeah, okay. They're like, oh, he registered as Republican. But you guys didn't see all that stuff that he had posted previously about hating Trump and such. And yeah, trophy videos. Maybe we can go on. Anyway.
far left media apparatus that doesn't support the candidate, right? It's not the same on the left and the right at all.
But do you think that has happened like every single election year over year? I think that's where I keep going back to my point of, do you think it's more so the candidate, right?
If I can show you articles that Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro have written saying they will never vote for Donald Trump because of like how horrible his character and everything is, like his character didn't change in 4 years. Nothing changed about him in 8 years. Like the only thing that happened was they realized, this happened with Glenn Beck as well, it happened on The Blaze, is that people were like, hey, I don't really know how I feel about Donald Trump, and every single person on the right was like, oh, well, I'm not going to watch your media. Like that is what happened factually. Like that's you can say, well, maybe all of them every single person on the right just happened to all change their minds simultaneously and all agree that Donald Trump is actually a good candidate. They all, wanted to take back what they said before, but I find that incredibly unconvincing. I think it's far
Well,
more
yeah,
likely.
but mob mentality is collectively not very smart. I mean, I think what they say that you can drop about 15, 20 points on IQ level based on mob mentality because people would rather do what other people are doing around them than to be looked a fool. So I mean, that's a real thing, but that happens on both sides. Like he's like at a buffet. He's trying to pick and choose like what he wants.
That they just realize that on the right you have to support the candidate or you have no future in media. The original claim they were talking about has to do with whether or not you have to support a candidate, basically. On the left, I've given you several large media entities that don't support the candidate. On the right, every single person, even centrists or whatever, all support the candidate. And to just say, well, I think that every single person has a really good reason for why all of them have to support the candidate, even when I've given you examples of people who didn't support the candidate and then got relentlessly bullied until they did, like Joe Rogan and like Kyle Rittenhouse, but you write all of it off. So I mean, like, I don't think there's any way or anything I can demonstrate. Like, nothing is more.
Rittenhouse, maybe. I don't know his story. But you really, do you think that Joe Rogan got by now? Or bullied into it? I feel like he makes plenty of money to not give a shit, and he's a fighter. I don't know if I'm buying that one.
More clear than the Rittenhouse example of like what happens if you try not to support Trump. You'll be destroyed by the Fox News Dominion lawsuit. There's nothing more clear than that.
I agree with you in the sense that Kyle Rittenhouse was effectively bullied into like supporting Trump. Do you think that's the case for Joe Rogan?
Yes.
How so?
I think Joe Rogan came out and he was like, I really like this RFK dude. I'm not sure. Like, maybe I would support him. He was a pretty tepid, lukewarm statement. And he got so much pushback from his audience who are all like Trump sycophants. Even other people in the mainstream media on the right were like, hey, I don't know if it's so good that you guys are all attacking Rogan like this. And then Rogan came out and basically made a statement saying, like, oh, no, guys, don't worry. I'm not saying I endorse RFK for president, guys, don't worry. Like, he had to come back and eat his words because he was getting so much over-the-top response about it. Like, it was insane.
Yeah, because and then there's also what happened with MSNBC, right? When they edited him out to make it seem like he's supporting Kamala, so he's probably also overly sensitive.
He probably didn't know that either.
Misrepresented.
None of that has any bearing on what I just said. I'm saying that on the right,
Of course not.
Trump. I'm not talking about MSNBC or CNN editing or anything. I'm saying that on the right, none of that made him support Trump.
What I'm trying to do is provide context in the sense that there's probably that thought process too. That's why it's probably over.
Yeah, where a lot of shit was made up.
He just got bullied into it when media has misrepresented what he said multiple times.
Okay. You're just wrong. I mean, I really don't know what to say. Like, this stuff like drives me so crazy that the right can.
Narcissist says what?
People always make excuses. Right? Well, the reason why Joe Rogan
you're never wrong, dude.
deep throat Donald Trump was because MSNBC edited a clip of him one time. Like, I don't know. I'm a man. I've never changed my political opinions because somebody says something mean about me like that. But then people make excuses for Joe Rogan to do this, and it's so crazy to me, right? I've had people lie about me on the left and the right.
Doesn't have anything to do. He knows this BS too.
Like, grow up.
That's funny.
That's just crazy to me that you would be so willing and easily ready to offer up that excuse for Joe Rogan. Like, maybe he had to be a 100% Trump sycophant because MSNBC posted a clip of him.
I said the names again.
That's crazy to me. That just doesn't make any sense in my
You're
mind.
crazy to me, bro.
Centrists. I've heard you multiple times say that centrists are spineless. I like to describe myself as centrist. And honestly, Destiny, you're probably more one too. You even said that you're independent. You like to look at things from both sides and look at facts. Doesn't that make you a bit of a centrist as well?
I have a variety of opinions that could put me on the left or the right, depending upon which like constellation of beliefs you're picking from. But most people that call themselves centrists are just 100% aligned with this anti-establishment Trump-suck mentality, and that's it. They'll go like, "Oh, I'm a centrist. Really? What do you mean by centrist?" Well, I support a lot of people on the left.
Nothing like telling yourself and telling other people how much of a government shill you are. Like, whew. Tell us a little bit more, buddy. How much government dick you sucking?
Like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, and it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. It's like, well, and also I'm like a big supporter of people of like Andrew Tate and left people like Jimmy Dore. And,
you don't have to go that far.
It's like it's just okay. So what you really mean?
there is a
you're anti-establishment.
happy medium.
Every single person who's anti-establishment. That's what you really mean to say. That's not a centrist or a moderate or whatever. It's just a person who's anti-establishment, and their beliefs all 100% align with everyone else who's like that.
What you just laid out as your definition of a centrist is actually a lot of people, based on like a lot of people that I've talked to. What I like to consider myself as, I may have stances that might lean more left. There might be lean more right. It also just depends on the historical context too. What would you consider Lex Friedman as?
The thing
Or
is
Joe
that
Rogan? I know.
yeah, but
I know
both of
where
these
you're
guys.
Yeah, he's he doesn't like either one of them.
If you
Lex or
if one
figure
side
roast
is
him.
clearly in the wrong, and the other side is not even close to as in the wrong, and you try to both sides them, you're granting more favor to the side.
Sorry, he got roasted big time on those shows. It was a nice little jab that this young man put. So
It's clearly in the wrong, right? So, for instance, there is no recent candidate that has weaponized the DOJ like Donald Trump has tried. And if you try to make excuses for it and say, well, doesn't everybody do this? You're conservative. You're leaning conservative because you're granting them so much more leeway than you would on the left. Like, but people don't understand this, so yeah.
But don't you think you're kind of just making a blanketed statement and not applying your definition of a centrist to the
Yeah.
If one guy
'Cause
says
it's
that he
not-
thinks
it's
that the
not
Earth
fair.
is, if one guy says that he thinks the Earth is round, and the other guy says he thinks the Earth is flat, and another guy comes up and is like, you know what? I think both these guys make great points. What do you think about that guy? Is he like a moderate? Would you call him like a centrist? Is that
this dude is very like one or the other.
Like quite complex, quite denounceable and proven wrong by with science. I know
Okay.
you're just using it as an example, but
so? You would say no, that guy's not a centrist. He's granting way more favor to the flat earther, right? If you were to go between a flat earther and a guy who believes that the Earth is an oblate spheroid or whatever it is, right? And you would say, well, I think both these guys make great points. You would say, okay, well, hold on. It would be really dumb to take a center position between these two people, right?
yeah, in my personal opinion, yeah.
Okay, that's how I feel about a lot of the stuff related to the media environment and Trump. And Trump
Yeah, you would.
Trump is clearly like
You would.
outstandingly in the wrong in so many ways, but people are willing to grant him so many excuses and then say that, well, it happens on the left and the right. So it's like, okay, you're not a centrist, you're a conservative. If you're going to make that many excuses for Trump and then hold the left to such an insane standard, then yeah, that's not centrism. That's just closet conservative. There is nothing that Donald Trump could have done to have lost the vote of 90% of the people that voted for him. It's impossible. He can't do it. It's a cult.
Sorry, I meant Joe Rogan. Like Joe Rogan. Has
There's
probably
nothing
voted.
that Donald Trump could have done for Joe Rogan not to vote for him. It's almost inconceivable.
But how can
that
you
there's
say
anything
that
could
with
have done.
such blind confidence?
Because Donald Trump is a disgusting, abhorrent figure who's done almost every horrible thing that you could do that has violated even Joe's past principles, and nobody's even the support for him has been unwavering. Watching Donald Trump be interviewed by Joe Rogan was one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen in my entire life. Joe Rogan spent the first 40 minutes trying to get Donald Trump to answer the question of what's it like ruling.
I would argue sitting through this interview has probably been the most pathetic thing I've ever experienced in my life. But tomato potato.
In office on day one, and Trump is too senile to even answer the question. Maybe he didn't even understand the question. And Joe Rogan still gives him a free pass. There's nothing that Trump could have done.
Yeah, I mean, again, right? If you're gonna ask about facts, earlier on in this conversation, I think you gotta base it a little bit more on facts for something like that. Because also,
Hold on, wait. To be clear, I brought up facts on what part do you need me to bring facts up? You haven't brought up any facts for anything. I brought up facts on every single thing.
You've brought up bullshit, is what you've brought
A
up.
lot more historical context. To
No,
make sure
hold on. You
that-
keep saying historical context. There is no historical context. Donald Trump was president in 2016. We're like 8 years ago. There's no historical context. What are we talking about? What are some facts?
when I was talking about historical context, you have to.
What he's doing is being respectful, you twat. Like, come on, man. He's being respectful. Everything that you've said so far has been propaganda, bullshit, and has been proven wrong. But you continue to live under your rock. But people are too afraid to say it because they're afraid of the kickback it might cause. I don't personally give a shit, so it is what it is.
We consider that 2016 is a lot different than 2024.
What historical context would make Trump a good president in 2024?
He was a good one in the previous.
He hasn't even been inaugurated yet, right?
Yeah, but if you're going to vote for him, like, what is the historical context of the past 8 years that's made you think, well, maybe Trump could be a good president because I have more information now than I had in 2016?
Yeah, I think a lot of people wanted to vote for him because they just weren't happy with the previous administration too, right? I think a lot of people
No, that's not even that. I mean, it could be. But he's a businessman. Like, that's what he does. He's not going to sell out as easily. Yeah, maybe he's screwed up. Maybe he's an asshole. I don't know. I don't really care for his character. But it's like we're going to choose these people that are basically proven to having insider trading. Those people are going to make the laws that are going to benefit their money. No, the only reason why a lot of us are voting for Trump, really, is because he's not as easily bought out. Every single politician comes in making promises, and not a single one of them actually makes anything done. Trump actually got a lot of things pushed through, a lot of controversial things. So then you look at some of the things that got pushed away from him, and you actually read why they got pushed out. He's trying to help. Because when we make money, he makes money because he pays taxes. Well, for the non real estate type of stuff, I'm sure. But that's a whole different ball game there. But that just shows even more like how disconnected Destiny is from how money's made. I mean, obviously, like it is whatever.
They did perceive Donald Trump to be able to handle that better, as well as the border. I think those were two very hot topics that turn a lot of people. I mean, I think you can even see, especially with the fact that a lot of Latinos this election, especially Latino male voters, voted for Trump. Right? There's got to be specific reasons for that.
Okay, and I think a lot of it has to do with the cultish media environment that the right has, that they can lie with impunity, they don't get called out for it.
Yeah, because there's so much right media.
But they haven't called out about it, right? Like
they haven't. No, they haven't.
The Fox Dominion case is.
No one cares about it. The Fox Dominion case should have been the end of Fox News and every single person involved in that. But most people don't even care about it.
I agree with you.
I don't care if you agree with me. The reality is Tucker Carlson is still one of the most popular figures in media. Fox News is still thriving, and every single host.
Because he also has a right? Because he's an independent voice now. Like
no one is talking about having a right. I'm just saying that should have been the end of his credibility.
But that's exactly what you're saying. That's literally exactly what you're saying, dude. Don't sit there and backpedal. Own it. That's what you mean. So mean it.
That nobody lied on the left as much as Tucker Carlson and the rest of Fox News did, but these people will still hold like Fauci and that entire administration to some different standard because they didn't like one thing he said. Like it's insane. It's an insane media environment.
Do you feel like you still stand by your statement that you have no sympathy for the bystander firefighter that was killed?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, because you're going to an insane rally from a dude who is like championing violence against the United States. Like, yeah, if violence or whatever happens, then I mean, fuck it. I mean, shit happens.
You feel like it was justified that he was killed then?
No, I don't think you should ever kill people for political reasons in the United States. I don't think it's good.
Good save there, buddy. He almost had me there.
You're cheering on some authoritarian lunatic.
Don't you think someone can also make then the argument that then you should be canceled for having sort of statements like that?
Okay, they can try and cancel me then, I guess. I already get like 50 million death threats.
That's why Tucker Carlson has like an audience too, right? Is that
hold on, wait. This has nothing to do. What I'm saying is Tucker Carlson had no credibility because he blatantly and knowingly lied to his audience.
Knowingly?
Politician elected. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
Fair enough. Do you have friends from both sides of the spectrum, like in your personal life?
A little bit.
Wait, which spectrum are we talking about?
I find out, I cut him out. No more.
Oh, legendary.
Okay?
Yeah,
I
you
have
can
to
cut
make
some
hard decisions in the upcoming civil war, so I'm just trying to have only friends on the left now.
So, Destiny, I gotta say though, like, you care about facts, like, I can see that, but don't you feel like sometimes your bias is overcrowding that?
The true enemies are people like you, okay? Unironically though, like you're no, but because you're so obsessed with trying to both sides everything, and it's like
yeah, it's called.
It's an impossible.
It's literally trying to like find the happy medium between everything. It's a balanced perspective, dude. Like you could do well by learning some of that.
Because then people
but you won't.
Me, like,
you're never wrong.
Biased, Destiny? No, I don't think I am biased compared to the party.
Yeah, of course you don't.
Acknowledge the results of the 2020, 2024, or 2016 election. Donald Trump still thinks all three elections were rigged, and you're asking me if I'm the biased one, right? Like in 2016, he said that 3 million illegal immigrants voted with no evidence.
Oh, it's so hard to believe that elections can't be rigged when it happens literally all the time. Regime changes are literally the United States calling card. But he probably doesn't know that.
Put together a commission to find it, couldn't find it, disbanded the commission. In 2020, he says that the election was rigged. They launched 60-plus court cases to try to prove that, lost basically every single one. In 2024, Donald Trump was still saying that there was like evidence of rigging at the Philadelphia place in Detroit. They were bringing no evidence was ever good presented for any of this. None of it was proven, right? And then he was like, well, don't you think you're being a little bit biased? And said, no, the right is full of fucking liars right now and crazy people. So I don't think that I'm biased by calling that out. When the right does something good.
Haven't there been several court hearings? I mean, Forbes usually records these, don't they? You could probably watch some of them.
Then I say, okay, yeah, yeah, this is good. I give him credit for this. When the left does something bad, I would criticize him for that. Nobody on the right will criticize Donald Trump substantively for anything. That's why you can't even give me a single example. I can rattle off 5 or 10 criticisms of Kamala Harris off the top of my head for things that I don't like. You will never find the same criticisms for people on the right. Like, it just doesn't happen. I challenge.
I got plenty of criticisms about his characteristics, who is like as his personality. That's not why we're in politics, bro. It's just it literally is a perfect, like, completely different mindset. You would rather go towards the personality of somebody. We would rather go towards somebody that's more apt to making policies that work for the collective good. I mean, I'd rather not starve. Who gives a shit about what he says online? Did he become a child when he said "F you, Taylor Swift" or whatever? Absolutely. He stooped down to that childish level that I usually expect from the left, but he is at least following the Constitution, for what I gather. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Educate me if I am wrong. So.
You to do any of it, other than like they'll give these like very like, well, I don't like that Donald Trump is kind of mean sometimes. Like they'll give some shit like that, but they won't disagree with them on any policy.
Thank you for saying that I'm part of the problem, but I do think this is exactly why it's important to talk to both sides, though, right? And I think that you do it a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I regret a lot of it. It's not. This is not valuable.
Of course he does.
The talking to both sides is not valuable
because he doesn't learn anything.
Of illusion that both sides are somehow coming to some middle ground agreement. There is no coming to a middle ground or agreement with people on the right who think that the last election was still stolen. These people are retarded. There are some people on the left, but they're 1%. Right. On the right, they're 99%. That's the difference. The difference is when people say, yes, yeah. The fact is, show me. Do you want to compare how many lawmakers on the Republican side are too?
Of course, it's in his personality to think in absolutes. It's destiny at this point. I don't even know the dude, but from this video, like, I can already tell.
Nonners versus how many people on the left are neo-Marxists or whatever? There's nobody. It's not even close. There's not even close.
I mean, look, I know you're just exaggerating by saying.
I'm not exaggerating. Wait. How am I?
Quite a bit.
I think 99% of Republicans think.
Either that or he's nuts.
Well, hold on. For the Republicans that think the last election was stolen, that number, the last I saw, was 80% think that the 2020 election was rigged, was like the actual votes were stolen. Yes. Nothing is equivalent on the left to that. It's not even close. The right is out of control, and they are completely divorced from reality. It's insane.
Yeah, I really don't know what to think about that guy. He's, well, he needs to get out a little bit more, I think. Maybe read up on some of those things he thinks he knows about. There's quite a disconnect, that's all I can say. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully this wasn't too boring for you. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, we will talk next time. Thank you.